Someone keeps breaking into my apartment, but they're not stealing anything. I had doubts about posting this, as I'm really unsure what to do. I try to ignore this anxiety I've had for a while, but today, I know for a fact something is not right. I'd like to start with some backstory. I'm a 22-year-old female, and I live alone in an apartment building in a very safe town. The apartment building requires a key code to even get in. I started renting this place at the beginning of June, 2024, with my now ex-boyfriend. He broke up with me a couple of weeks after moving in, and I'd like to think we cut things off pretty cleanly. He didn't want to be with me anymore, and I respected that. I left town for 2 days and told him he could come get his things from the apartment and to get rid of his key afterward. I can't imagine him ever keeping the key. He's never shown stalker tendencies, and he blocked me on pretty much everything, which I was fine with. Soon after he left, I started feeling weird. Like I said, it's a safe neighborhood, and I've never felt like I was being watched or in danger. But a few weeks ago, I'd come home and things felt kind of off. I decided to deep clean my apartment and move furniture around. I went through all of my clothes and bedding. Anything I didn't want, I got rid of. I don't have a lot, so I know there's nothing I missed when cleaning. Still, something never felt right when I would leave and come back. I have 3 cats and a big old dog that's separated from them during the day and kept in the bedroom. My apartment isn't very big, but the room is specifically set up for him. I know cats are monsters, and sometimes things get moved around, but it always felt like it was more than that. Like, I found an old shirt that I thought my ex took with him. Today, my theory was confirmed. Something is very not right. I was gone from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. just to get some extra hours in with my job. Today I came back and found these 2 hats, sitting stacked on top of each other on the floor. They say American Legion Post 434 Ashland, PA, and each have a pin of the American flag, 1 red hat, 1 blue hat. I have never, ever seen them before in my life. I didn't even know what they were from, and I still don't really understand. Nothing was taken, my animals are all fine. But what? What is happening? Does anyone have some sort of reasoning for me? Again, nothing was taken. I ordered a security camera, but it won't be in for a couple of days. Thanks for any advice in advance. Commenter. Change your locks ASAP. Look into your apartment's security policies. Looking at your post history, you've been involved in an abusive relationship and suffered from domestic violence before. Even if this wasn't the same boyfriend as that one, it's possible that you missed some of your ex's red flags. Getting new locks and keys should stop this from happening, as long as you don't give them to anyone. Also, check the batteries in your carbon monoxide detector to make sure you're not going crazy. That's true. But because of that abusive relationship, I learned a lot of red flags. This recent BF of mine has never shown any signs like that. But I will be buying a nanny cam as well as trying to change my locks. It's just weird that nothing else is out of place. Commenter. Most of the time when I've read something like this, it ends up being the actual landlord or maintenance. Camera is your best bet, and then when you're sure it's not one of them, you can ask them for help. If it is them, you have a free pass to get out of your lease and move somewhere else. Commenter. This happened to me a few years ago. I'd come home, and my DVDs would be on the floor, the lights be on, the blinds open, my entire microwave cart moved over a foot and unplugged. At one point, they hooked up my DVD/VCR player to my TV and watched a movie. I kept complaining to my landlord, has locks changed, etc. Spoiler alert. It was my landlord. Commenter. The American Legion is a military fraternal organization, and the name of the post would be specific to one place. I would bet that whoever has a key is a veteran. Before anyone comes after me for saying this, I am also a veteran, and not all veterans are good people. Trust me, I am aware of some creepy older men in the fraternal organization I am a part of. You might want to verify with the apartment complex that they don't have a maintenance man with a connection to that American Legion post. When I was in my 20s, I had a maintenance man accessing my apartment and going through my panties. I haven't read a comment like this. I was very confused on that part, about the hats. My ex-BF is active in the Army Reserves, which made me think the hats had some tie to him, but I didn't consider that it could be an old tenant veteran or perhaps maintenance. Well, I don't know. I kind of had it in the list of possible options, but the building management/landlord is very considerate and adamant on alerting tenants if maintenance is going to be performed, especially because I have a dog that sounds vicious. What I hadn't considered is someone could be coming in on their own, a worker. We'll only know over the next few days, I guess. I'm going to set up cameras and take my animals with me to someone's house. If someone has been watching me, they'll know I'm usually gone on the weekends until Sunday afternoon. This apartment is extremely small, and the only significant furniture I have is my dresser, bed, and I suppose my dog's bed. I've looked around the entire place. Nothing else was moved, and there's no place anyone can really hide without me noticing. The neighbors are very to themselves, and only one of them has a camera on this floor of the building. I don't think she's home for me to ask yet. I'm waiting for my camera to come in the mail. If my ex could have put a tracking app or AirTag on me, he doesn't know my Apple ID passwords, which are required to download anything. I only carry one purse with me, and I've cleaned out my car and haven't found any AirTags. That is something I haven't been searching for, though. So I guess I will clean everything out again. I didn't think about that. If my cats could bring stuff in from outside, they're indoor cats. I live on the second floor of a building that requires like 3 heavy doors to open, including a key-padded door. About putting flour on the floor to see footprints, the cats are silly enough to mess up flour on the floor, unfortunately. I did think about doing that, but they're weirdos. There's no crawl spaces. There is kind of loft-type areas above the rooms, but I climbed up there and it doesn't look like anyone's been there. It is a very difficult spot to pull yourself up to. Why I didn't take the key back from my ex, I trusted the situation. He really wanted to leave the relationship. I wasn't really thinking, I guess. I don't need to be ridiculed here. The key was a duplicate of mine since we were only ever given one key when we moved in. Why I don't change the locks myself instead of waiting for the landlord? There are cameras in the hallway. I could get in trouble if I do it without the landlord's permission. Not that he isn't a chill guy, but I'm almost certain it's something I need approval for. Update. I'm not sure if this is against the rules, I'll triple check, but months ago, I wrote a post about someone breaking into my apartment but not stealing anything. I ended up deleting my old post, but after setting up a security camera, I didn't find any evidence that someone was actually breaking in. I reached out to my landlord to change the locks, which did happen, but I have since moved out. Originally, I thought someone was breaking in because I had come home and found 2 hats on the floor that I had never seen before. They looked really old, which made the whole thing even creepier. Eventually, I figured out that one of my cats had been climbing up into the rafters above my bedroom, an area way too high to reach without a ladder. A few weeks later, my cat even brought down a dead mouse from up there, which finally made things click. I got a lot of conspiracy theories in my original post about my lifestyle and past relationships. For context, my ex wasn't a good person, but that wasn't related to this situation. However, I realized I never gave an update, and I wanted to let everyone know that I'm safe now. I moved into a new place and have plenty of security cameras. Thanks to everyone who was concerned and gave advice, I really appreciate it. P.S. My cats now have a nice, tall cat tree to climb. Ironically, the one who used to climb into the rafters doesn't even climb much anymore. The irony. It actually took me weeks to figure this all out. In the meantime, I even hung the hats on my wall with a note that said peekaboo to try and scare off the intruder. But when I finally saw my cat bring down a mouse from up there, I just thought, this idiot. Still, it's weird that those hats were up there in the first place. There's no storage space up there, so I guess an old tenant must have thrown them up there for some reason.